Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And today I'd like to show you how I made this card. This is another in my series called Fast and Beautiful. Isn't this card gorgeous? This was inspired by a swap I received at Onstage this year. And the swap was from a lady by the name of Cynthia Lowe, L-O-W-E, and it doesn't say where she's from, but I just fell in love. This was the card that she swapped, and this is my version of it. This element here was retired, and I used one of our silver ones. And you'll see the orientation on hers is to the left and mine is to the right. And that's because I decided to put a different sentiment on it. And it only worked where I had a little bit more room. So we'll be doing a little bit of that. On the inside, I have put some black cardstock, a little piece of gold, and then some more of the washi tape. And this one is fast because it uses washi tape and one of these wonderful gold snowflakes as really just about the only embellishment. So let me tell you what I used to make this card. I used a piece of Whisper White that is 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 4 1/4. I used a layer of our basic black 4 by 5 1/4. Then I have this white panel here that is 3 3/4 by 5. I have this piece of black, which is 5 1/4 by 1 inch. Then I have this piece of gold foil that is about 3/4 of an inch by 5 inches. I'm using the snowflake. And I am using the Year of Cheer designer washi tape. And that's how you get this beautiful look. And I'll bring this up so you can see all of the pretty effect of using that washi tape. Isn't that pretty? Then I used some of these little embellishments, the flat enamel in the gold, and the die set I used is Swirly Snowflakes Thinlet dies, and the what I used for that, it cuts out this beautiful little swirl. Isn't that just great? And there's the one in copper, and this is the one in silver that I just cut out. And so let me get that released from this. I don't know where my brush is, but it comes right out. There we go. All right, so there's the silver and there's the copper. So let me just get started. This is so simple, and yet the effect is absolutely gorgeous. So the first thing I'm going to do is fold and burnish up my card base here and then set that aside. Okay, set that aside. And then we have a little bit of embossing to do, not a heck of a lot. And we have this beautiful effect. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on our I'm going to put that off to the side there. We are going to do our work on this white panel that is 5 by 3 3/4. And I'm going to start with the washi tape. I'm going to take this gold and white washi tape, and I'm going to draw it across the card. And let's see if I can tell you, I can, that actually I'm going to try and put the orientation back the way it was before, And in that case, this washi tape is about 1.25 inches up from the bottom where it starts. So roughly 1.25 inches, right about there. And then it gets drawn up across the card panel here, and this gets snipped off, and I cut this end a little bit long, but it doesn't hurt anything, and that is folded behind and stuck down. Then the next piece is here and drawn across at a pretty good angle, and I want to make sure I leave plenty of room for my sentiment here, so I'm probably going to change this orientation just a bit. And this is the key, getting this piece of washi tape down, because all of the other washi tape is drawn across this particular band. So the next thing I'm going to do is take the really thin little piece of silver, and what I'm going to do is draw it from the top end of the washi tape at the top to the bottom end of the washi tape on the bottom. Snip that off and fold that behind. You can see this is very fast and real easy to do. I just have to find my end on the gold here. There it is. And I'm going to do the similar kind of thing on the gold, coming across the washi tape, being on the bottom of the side of the washi tape at the top of the card, and here along the top, sort of crisscrossing the card, if you will. And we snip that off, and again, just fold behind. So the last one, I didn't use the copper on this, and this one is just so beautiful. It has silver and gold and copper in it, and the washi tape is just gorgeous. See if I can find the end here. There we go. All right, and this one is going to get drawn both going both directions. So on the opposite side of where I have the silver on this one, coming across the card and snipping off and folding that along the back. You can see I've got a long tail there. I'm going to have to snip off. And folding that behind the card. And then again, drawing that across, going the opposite direction on the card. This way. And again, just anchoring that down. And there I've got the basis for the decoration on the front of the card. Now, what we're going to do is cut this snowflake. And we're going to end up using all of the pieces in this snowflake to make our decoration on the front here. So, if you look at this snowflake, there is a centerpiece here. And I'll show you here next to this so that you can see both of those things side by side. This one is just cutting out this little section here in the center. And then these leaves here are these longer leaves that are tucked in behind and glued down. Then these little embellishments are tucked underneath. I had a little trouble tucking those underneath, so I think adding those pieces first before laying down these other leaves probably makes some sense. So what I'm going to do is just come in here And I'll try and do this right here so you can see exactly what I'm doing. And there's almost a little heart at the top of this little diamond shape here. And if I come in from this side, I can cut past the heart into that open space. And if I come across on this little piece here, I can do the same. And what it does is it releases that piece. And so what I'm going to do is come across this piece here and do that all the way around my snowflake. Okay, so there's my centerpiece cut out. Now I'm just going to slice up the component pieces here and get that larger leaf released. So I'll just cut around this and be back in a second here. Okay, so there I have all of my pieces cut out, and what I'm going to do is set all of my longer pieces. I should have 6 of them here, and I may just keep these others and find a place to tuck them in to make that star a little bit more full. I hate wasting things. So there are my leaves. 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe there's 8 of them. Anyway, there's quite a few. Okay, so there I have my pieces. Next, what I found was on mine, I used a glue dot because this, once you cut this out, this is pretty loose because of all of the cuts there, and I want to stabilize it a little. So I used a glue dot. Let's see, on the back of this to kind of help hold all the parts and pieces, and the gem is going to cover anything, any effect of that glue dot on the front of this, and that makes that piece a little bit more stable. Now I'm going to set this piece down right here so that it's more on this side and more up. And then I think I will go ahead and set these pieces in here underneath, and I'm going to just use a little bit of snail to see if I can't get that to work here, to just stick to the various pieces and put that into place here. The silver and then the copper going up and away. And there we have those pieces in. And now you can see that if I start placing these pieces, if I just dry fit them, how they're going to go along here and make that flower. Okay, so that would be my floral arrangement, which is much bigger than this, and actually I really like it much better. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of snail and get these pieces glued in. Okay. I love it when a design is so simple and yet gives you such impact. And this is one of those. All right, now I'm going to take my gem here and center that in the center of my flower. Isn't that just beautiful? Very, very pretty. All right, well, I have used 2 stamps. The first one is, I didn't like how square and blocky this looked on this one. And so I'm going to put that one on the inside. It says, wishing you a beautiful season and a new year of peace and happiness. And this one says, a little Christmas spirit brightens all the world. And actually that fits beautifully right in here. So I'm going to go ahead and emboss that on here. Now when you do this at home, you may want to do your embossing first, just in case you have a mishap. And let's see, that's not the... Let's see, there's my Versamark pad that I wanted to use because I just inked it up. Okay, so I'm going to take this one and I'm going to put it on my Pierce mat. And make sure that's good and inked up. And set it down right here on the bottom. And then I've got my gold embossing powder here. And I'm going to get some of that embossing powder right along my message there on the bottom. Here we go. And I'll use a brush here to take away anything that's not right. And then I'll bring out my heat gun and I'll quiet the video while I heat set this message. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to let that cool just a bit, and I am going to put this other message, wishing you a beautiful season and a new year of peace and happiness, on the inside. So I'll bring back my Versamark here and prepare my surface and then use my Versamark here and make sure I've got that right side up. And I'm going to set that over to the side at the top because I've got some other decoration to go down this side. Okay, there we go. Bring back my embossing powder and see how we did. Pretty good. Got a little bit of a powder edge there. Okay, so now I will also emboss that message. There we go. Don't you just love embossing? It's just such an elegant piece and so simple and just gives a big impact for the time and effort that you put into it. So let me get a few of these things out of the way. So now, as long as I'm here, I might as well go ahead and put this piece in place. What I want to do is put a length of this down the center of this gold foil piece and adhere that to my gold foil piece. Then use some snail on the back and set that here on the inside of my card. And I think that ties the front and the inside of the card together beautifully. There we go. Now, we are at the point that we can put this card together. Okay, there we go. And because this one had to have most of its decoration, I suppose after you put the washi tape on, you could go ahead and adhere it to the black. So in this case, what I'm going to do is put my adhesive on the inside piece here on the black, knowing how much of a border I'm going to have, because normally I would not do it this way. And then set down my piece here. There we go. Isn't that just beautiful? Oh my gosh, I just love this card. Okay, so here is the one that I started with. Here is the prototype. And thank you again, Cynthia Lowe. That was just a gorgeous card. Now, let's see. I have a few more little embellishments to add here. And let's see. I need my gold. Here they are. Enamel dots here. And what I did was just take some of these smaller enamel dots and dot them around the card just to give it a little bit more of a finished look. There we go. And I will say I like this message. I think it's more balanced on this page this way. And on this one, I do like having the message on the inside as well. Well, there you have it. There's my project for today. And truly fast and beautiful, using some of that wonderful designer washi tape to get this fabulous look. So everything that you see here can be purchased on my website, www.lbedinger.stampinup.net. And if you don't already have a demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator, and or you could join my team. What we're going to find is that in the next couple of months, starting in January with the release of the new catalog, there will be some added incentives to joining Stampin' Up! So now's a good time to start thinking about that. The prize draw for me this month is the Stampin Blends, 4 sets of colors, 2 each, a lighter and a darker, your choice. Then the Ivory, the bronze, and the color lifter. So it's a total of 11 blender pens and a $49 value in the catalog. And so that's it for me today. Another fast and beautiful card. And so I'll be back soon with more projects and more cards.